Welcome to the first of what will hopefully be a new series of videos on this channel. We're going to analyze the following match, but we aren't going to focus so much on the competitive value of the decks, since, truth be told, neither are all that unique or impressive, but rather we are going to be analyzing the general strategy of the decks and the implementation of these strategies throughout the match, especially by considering alternative choices at critical moments. However, I have placed both decks here, the opponents created to the best of my estimations. Without further ado, let's begin. Round 1 starts with us going first, and we draw a slightly awkward hand before opting to mulligan the 2 heavy strikes and getting a Pyro die and leave it to me in return. The Pyro die, in combination with Klee's skill card, allows for Klee to get off 3 attacks in round 1. However, it still might have been better to keep at least one of the heavy strikes, just in case we need it for changing dice parity to activate charge attacks, or just to have the surprise additional damage. We open with Lisa, looking to get off her conductivity before swapping to Klee. Getting conductivity out on someone early is important since it'll continue to grow with each passing round. On the opponent's side, they roll the dice needed to use Raiden's skill and at least get off a normal attack with Nahida for activating Catalyze. But the opponent uses Favonius Library and gets the additional die they need for Nahida's skill, and then Raiden's skill comes out. Everything so far has been fairly standard, but here's where the first interesting decision comes into play. We have Leave It to Me in hand, but we opt to not use it, allowing the opponent the option to swap off of Raiden without being overloaded. This decision isn't necessarily a blunder though. Obviously on the downside we lose out on 5 damage, putting Raiden to 4, and being an easy target for Lisa's skill to kill. Additionally, the opponent is not aiming to get Raiden's burst in round 2 and already has a summon out, so it isn't likely that they'll be back on Raiden for a while. However, with Electro still applied to her, Raiden can be overloaded and disrupted later on, perhaps with the use of Pyro Resonance for more damage. And we get to hold on to our Leave It to Me for better offensive or even defensive purposes. Additionally, by forcing the opponent to swap and use a die, we're increasing the odds that whoever they swap to takes the full 7 damage incoming from Klee's opening combo by not having the additional die to swap again. So, the opponent swaps to Nahida, as expected, and then Klee's combo begins with her skill card, and the opponent responds with Nahida's skill. We play the Pyro die to have the first charge attack for Klee, and then we play our Arcane card to have the second charge attack. Now Klee is poised for her burst on round 2. However, we do give the opponent Catalyze and put Klee at 5 HP, leaving her in lethal range of Nahida's burst if they have an energy card, or Nahida's skill if they have Tandoori Roast Chicken to buff skill damage. So let's sum up where both sides stand at this point. For our side, Nahida is low, and Raiden is an easy target for either Overload or Lisa's skill. This puts a lot of pressure on the untouched Tighnari to carry the next round for the opponent. For the opponent's side, they have Catalyze down and start the next round first. They also have Klee in a position where she uses her burst, she likely dies. However, if they don't swap off or heal Nahida, she also dies. Swapping off of Nahida, however, sets up the other character, likely Tighnari, for taking massive damage from Klee and Lisa. Moving into the second round, the opponent starts and draws both of their Adeptus Temptations, but they don't have any bursts ready yet. They roll well and use Nahida's 3-cost skill on Klee again to trigger her effect on all of the characters while putting Klee at 2. On our side, we roll well for our Pyro characters and draw Vonarana and Gambler's Earrings, so we could quick swap to Yenfei to kill Nahida with Gamblers on. However, Klee is at 2 HP, and we don't have any means of healing on hand, so we opt to put Gamblers on Klee and use her burst, sacrificing her last 2 HP to save 3 HP on Yenfei. The opponent chooses Tighnari as expected and kills Klee with his skill. They tune Dunyazar to do this, preparing to equip Raiden with the Emblem artifact. Now, here's where things get interesting again, and I invite you to pause the video and see if you can predict the possible outcomes of this next move and choose what the best option would be. But for those who just want to enjoy the show, we continue by using Lisa's skill. This choice, in retrospect, might not be the best. It may be better to actually normal attack in this situation. With Lisa's skill, we put Tighnari at 4, but we can't put any significant damage on Raiden now without tuning cards that we may need for the next round. Were we to normal attack, we'd put Tighnari at 5 and transfer conductivity over to Raiden, putting her at the max 4 stacks. We could then use Lisa's skill to put Raiden at 3, leaving her in Death's range from Klee's burst effect. This would put the opponent in a dilemma where they would have to decide on potentially losing Raiden or putting Tighnari in a lethal situation if they swap to him. But that isn't what happened, so the opponent equips Raiden with Emblem and ends their turn safely at 9 HP. We opt for playing Vonarana instead of attacking again and end our turn. This is the best use of the resources we have in the chosen situation. Despite the missed opportunity with Lisa's normal attack, by the end of this round, we're in a firmly winnable position. If Raiden does anything, she overloads and presents a very low Tighnari to us. Additionally, Raiden is still liable to take 6 damage from Lisa's skill due to having max stacks of conductivity. Going into round 3, we're going to focus primarily on the opponent's perspective, since they are burdened with the difficult decisions in this position. They've also drawn Lotus Crisps, allowing for better survival of at least one character, but making that decision even more difficult to decide. Again, I invite you to pause the video and think about what you would do in this situation to try and find a winnable play for the opponent. We continue and see the opponent make a surprising play. They swap to Tighnari. We respond with Lisa's burst to get the most value out of our dice with end phase summon damage. And again, the opponent responds in a surprising way. They opt to use the Lotus Crisps on Raiden. The Lotus Crisps needed to be used to have even dice parity for Tighnari's Dendro Arrow to be summoned, which is ideal here, but they sacrificed Tighnari to Klee's burst for free. We respond by using Lisa's skill and bringing Raiden down to 6. And the opponent normal attacks and then concedes, realizing that they've lost an end phase. All we would need to do is swap the end phase and use her skill to put Raiden at 1. Lisa's burst would finish the job, and with 4 remaining dice and plenty of cards for tuning, this was the guaranteed outcome. It's important to note that no matter who the Lotus Crisp was put on, nor when it was used, the opponent would still lose at the start of the next round. If they put the Lotus Crisps on Tighnari after being hit by Lisa's burst, he would have 1 HP remaining after attacking, forcing a normal attack from Lisa. Raiden could then normal attack, and we would respond with Lisa's skill, bringing Raiden to 3. The opponent would end their turn first and start first. With our remaining die, the best option is to swap the Yanfei to keep Lisa alive. If we sacrifice Lisa, Yanfei dies to Raiden's burst with Adeptus Temptation after being brought to 8 HP in end phase due to Nahida's lingering piercing effect. If we keep Lisa alive, she'll have 2 HP. The opponent kills Yanfei at the start of the next round with her burst, but would need healing to keep Raiden alive afterwards. So what can we learn from this match? This match shows a unique strategic theory. The best plays are those that force the burden of difficult decisions onto the opponent. This is best shown in the trade-off between Klee and Nahida, the missed opportunity of round 2 with Lisa's normal attack, and the lose-lose choice the opponent has to make with the Lotus Crisps in round 3. These situations force the opponent into a dilemma where they have to choose between a lesser of 2 evils. One usually resulting in immediate heavy losses, with the other resulting in future losses. And while these situations may be easy enough to see in hindsight, the missed opportunities show that, in the moment, neither them nor their ramifications are always apparent. If you enjoyed this new type of TCG analysis, be sure to mention it in the comments, click on the video shown here for more TCG videos, and thank you for watching.